Welcome to ClipNotes.
The movie!
Batman Begins.
The plot!
A billionaire orphaned by inner-city violence trains himself into a scary creature of the night in order to fight crime.
The characters!
Batman, a.k.a. Bruce Wayne, also young Bruce Wayne. A billionaire ninja who dresses up like a big scary bat to fight crime. Rachel Dawes, incorruptible assistant DA and Bruce Wayne's childhood best friend. Alfred Pennyworth, Bruce's butler and surrogate father. Jim Gordon, a police detective with a strong sense of right. Lucius Fox, head of research at Wayne Enterprises. Ducard, a recruiter and trainer for a league of assassins and ninjas. Scarecrow, a.k.a. Dr. Jonathan Crane, a psychiatrist who gets off on scaring the crap out of people. Carmine Falcone, just your run-of-the-mill drug trafficking mob boss. This movie was a great big, widely accepted apology from Hollywood for allowing Batman to crumble into ridiculousness almost 10 years prior. But even back in the 90s, after Batman and Robin got schmucked, DC liked a good reboot. And after they failed to do a Scarecrow sequel, they started talking about doing a Batman Year One movie, which bounced around until in walked Christopher Nolan, who had, like Burton in his time, been pushing boundaries and making wildly original type films. Hopes ran high for this reboot, so let's get started. A bunch of bats form the Bat logo. Young Bruce Wayne and young Rachel Dawes are playing somewhere on the Wayne estate. He takes an Indian arrowhead from her, runs away, and quickly learns that crime doesn't pay as he falls through an old well where he gets attacked by like a bazillion bats. Lots of bats. Years later, this older, beardier Bruce Wayne is in some prison in some distant country. He's clearly been hiding out and training abroad to broaden his fighting skills. His first thing in the morning, he's taken away by guards because he's just gosh darn beating up too many people. They throw him in a little dungeon, and out from the shadows comes Ducard.
The world is too small for someone like Bruce Wayne to disappear.
We'll get to that later. Ducard says he represents Ra's al Ghul. Then he offers the opportunity to train with the League of Shadows, an anti-crime club for ninjas. And all Bruce has to do is march out into the wilderness and get a rare blue flower. Bruce is released from prison somehow and goes out to Six Flags, picks a flower, and drags his tired, half-frozen ass up the mountain, where he meets Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul, I guess.
You're certain it was Ra's al Ghul? None other.
Says he wants to fight crime. Ducard starts up the training immediately by fighting him till he passes out and flashback to the well. The bats finally disperse and Bruce's dad gets him out of the well. Later on, young Bruce is feeling better, but he's having nightmares about bats, which he talks about to his dad. And he explains that the bats attacked him because they were scared. So dad shows him a pearl necklace that he's getting ready to give to Mother Wayne and drags his kid out of bed. Next up, the Wayne family is on a big train and dad basically explains to Bruce that he had the train built, and at the center of the train system is Wayne Towers. Later that evening, the Waynes are in a theater attending a performance of, not that it matters, but Mephistopheles. Whatever, it's an opera about the devil making a bargain that he can corrupt this poor guy Faust. Doesn't matter, but it runs great parallels to the story of Batman and Gotham. Anyway, there's a bunch of bat-like boogeymen in the opera, which freaks Bruce out, so they all have to leave and his parents get shot. The murder of Bruce Wayne's parents has been explored many times, not just in the comic, but in the movies and TV as well. Here, however, we get the most unceremonious depiction of that. Some viewers may be confused, remembering that the Joker killed his parents in the Batman 1989 film, but that was just in that movie. Traditionally, this is how it goes down. Just a random thug, a random killing. Pearl necklace gets scattered, Bruce cries, but important for this movie in particular, Dad tells Bruce not to be afraid. So, Bruce is with the police now, and we're going to ignore how unmercifully scary Gary Oldman usually is, and take comfort in Jim Gordon here as he puts a coat around Bruce. This other cop tells young Bruce that they got the guy. There's a funeral and the flashback back in the mountains with Ducard and Bruce hitting the ninja training montage. Bonfire time! Ducard talks about his wife being murdered and gets all fire stare face, and then he inquires to Bruce why he didn't avenge his parents. Flashbackity back. Bruce comes back from Princeton to attend the hearing of Joe Chill, the guy who killed Bruce's parents. He argues with Alfred briefly about how much he hates Wayne Manor, and then he gets a gun out of his bag. At the hearing, things are going pretty good for Joe Chill. After it's all over, Bruce gets his gun and approaches Joe Chill to kill him, but some mobster hitman beats him to it. Oh my god! Rachel realizes the judge was paid off in order to get Joe Chill murdered because he finked on a big-time crime boss. But Bruce is like, revenge is cool, and I'm glad he's dead. But that just makes Miss Ideology here mad as hell. She drives him down into the ghetto and educates him on the mob running the city and drops him off at Falcone's little diner. Tells him to go and thank the guy then. Bruce tosses the gun into the river with maximum thrust and disgust and walks into the diner to talk to Falcone. But Falcone pulls a gun on him in front of a bunch of city officials and cops and says, that's the power of fear. And he gives him some really good advice about learning from suffering and using fear on your enemies. They rough him up a bit and they give him the boot. Bruce runs away from home, travels the underworld, and end the flashback again. So Ducard smokes up that little blue flower, which makes Bruce hallucinate fucking bats, and just all together makes things look freaky. They mask up all ninja style for a final battle, which involves a bunch of matching ninjas standing in a straight line and releasing bats, and Ducard jumping out and yelling shit like, you have to become an idea! But then Bruce tricks him and he completes the test. Hooray! So Ra's al Ghul sets Bruce up for one last task. If he chops off this murderer's head, then he can lead the League of Shadows to Gotham to purge purge it of corruption. Just FYI, the idea of a group of ninja assassins descending on Gotham sounds way cooler than it turns out to be. Of course, Bruce says no, and a fight breaks out. The whole place burns down. Fake Al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul gets buried under a fiery mass of rubble. Oh well, no big loss. And Bruce drags Ducard out of the fire and leaves him with some peasants. So then he's flying back to Gotham. He starts laying out the plan to become a symbol, and Alfred seems okay with this. Next up, enter two Rogues Gallery Batman baddies. Victor Zsasz here, who will continue to show up in the movie but do nothing, and Jonathan Crane. He's important. They're all in court with Rachel Dawes, who confronts Crane for sending criminals to the Arkham Insane Asylum rather than jail, because again, he's been paid off by the mob to do so. Later on, while Bruce is sitting crisscross applesauce doing his homework on Gotham cop stories, he spots a bat stuck in the house, and for no discernible reason, spelunks himself into the Batcave. Bats come up at him, but this badass has conquered his childhood phobia. Yay. Then Dr. Crane and Falcone are having a chat, and then they decide to knock off Rachel Dawes since they can't buy her off. Next up, more scene of guys in suits having serious conversations. This is William Earl. He runs Wayne Enterprises now. We don't like him because he wants to make weapons, and he's creepy because he's that weird-ass robot from Blade Runner. But then Bruce shows up to the board meeting, and that quickly gets in the news, and that gets to Rachel, who reacts calmly. Earl tells Bruce the company is going public, and Bruce is cool with that, and he just wants a job in applied sciences, please. So Bruce is sent downstairs to meet Lucius Fox. We like this guy because he was friends with Bruce Wayne's dad, and is also that guy who is in all those Morgan Freeman movies. Fox shows Bruce around, saying this place is a dead end because it's full of prototype technology that didn't take off. He monologues a bit about the water and power utilities running through the Wayne Tower with the train. Seriously, this is going to be important later. And he shows Bruce a bunch of stuff: armor, grappling gun, utility belt, etc. Bruce says he wants to borrow the stuff. Fox gets suspicious, but he says he can do whatever he wants. At the Batcave, we get a good look at the secret elevator that leads to Wayne Manor, and Bruce sets up shop in the cave, starts working on his crime-fighting suit, and orders his bat mask in separate parts from different countries instead of just making one. Just look on YouTube for a tutorial, Bruce. It's not that hard. Alright, out there in the Gotham underbelly, here's Detective Flask, taking up the mantle of a long line of fat cops who work with Jim Gordon. Flask don't like how Gordon doesn't take cop bribes, but they're okay, because Gordon doesn't rat on his criminal cop friends. Then up to the rooftop, click, click, click. Bruce Wayne hasn't received his custom-made bat mask yet, so he's just dolled up in a ski mask and League of Shadows spiky cuffs. He sneaks into Gordon's office and holds a stapler to his neck, pretending it's a gun, and asks him for information on taking down Falcone. After this brief chat, Ninja Bruce jumps out to the window and gets chased by cops till he throws himself into a fire escape and hobbles away. I wonder if looking back, Jim Gordon remembers this is how he met Batman and just kind of laughs to himself. Back at Fox's science department, Bruce is all, I need some kind of fabric for base jumping, please? And Fox shows him this floppy cloth that can turn into a parachute kind of thing, and all Bruce is thinking, oh my god, can you make it shaped like bat wings? Then they spot the tumbler hidden under a blanket. Yeah, I keep my tumbler covered up too, Mr. Fox. It's big, it was made for jumping across rivers, it's got boosters, and it's anyone's guess how he got it out of there without being seen. Bruce likey. Flash and Falcone talk about knocking off Rachel Dawes. Jeez, didn't we just do this? But this time, Bruce is listening in. The mask they bought sucks. Home crafts montage! I don't know what this is. And Bruce tells Alfred he wants to be a bat because
this time my enemies shared my dread.
Jesus, Bruce, lighten up. All right, kids, we're 1 full hour in. It's time for Batman to make a fucking appearance. Flash and Falcone talk about where the drugs is going, and thugs start disappearing, and the scene is kind of like a horror movie, but Batman is the monster. Pretty clever, fellas. The first appearance of Batman in a film is always important, because first you gotta be scary, then you gotta be ninja. Flash tells Falcone to leave, but he doesn't, and he gets to see a blur of Batcape beating up bad guys. Falcone hides out in his car and quietly says to himself,
What the hell are you?
and then
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I am Batman.
everybody's Batman! Next scene! Rachel gets off the train and nearly gets mugged, but a Batman shows up and scares them off. He gives her some incriminating photos of a judge. Pictures of a judge? Meanwhile, Gordon finds Falcone chained up to a spotlight, which projects a blurry-ass bat thing on the sky. I guess, sorta, in a way? So, this is enough to get Falcone on trial. The next day, Batman's in the news, and Alfred tells Bruce he needs to ramp up a billionaire's social life so people won't suspect him as Batman. Meanwhile, at Wayne Tower, Earl is informed that a Wayne Tech device was stolen. Some kind of microwave emitter that vaporizes the water instantly, taken right off a boat.
Wait just a darn minute here. Some bad guys infiltrated a boat and stole a device that instantly vaporizes water.
Moisture from your body.
That's what happened in the Adam West movie! That night, Bruce tries to be a regular billionaire asshole by bringing some floozies to a nice restaurant and makes a scene and leaves with the two of them just in time for Rachel to see him and be real disappointed. He gets worried that she's gonna think this is the real him, and she says some kinda, it's what you do that defines you, asshole, and that just tears into the poor guy. The floozies call for him, and you really don't want to see the deleted scene that takes place when he gets these chicks home. So Dr. Crane comes to the jailhouse to talk to Falcone. Whoever they're talking about is planning something big, and Crane decides it's time to lay Falcone out. On goes the Scarecrow mask, out comes some freaky gas. Falcone starts screaming, and the Scarecrow says something. And way over here, Batman is gargoyling out in Gotham City. Gordon and Batman talk about the drug shipments because half the drugs was unaccounted for. Batman interrogates Flash. I don't know if he's really pissed or just pretending to be mad to scare the guy, but Batman is raging out. All he finds out is that the drugs go to some guy in the Narrows. And this little bit of food just bip, bip, bip. Yeah, that really adds to the scene. He lets Flash go, and Rachel's boss takes some cops down to the docks and cracks open one of Falcone's crates. The Wayne Tech device is in there, but the cops kill the guy. Meanwhile, Batman snoops around and, oh God, he's making me sick just looking at him. He finds the place where the drugs were taken to, and just then Crane shows up with some goons to burn the evidence. Crane zaps him with the poof of his fear toxin and tells Batman to lighten up, and then lights him in fire. Why do villains communicate almost exclusively in puns?
All right, everyone, chill.
Batman puts out the fire easy enough, but he's so doped up on fear toxin that he calls Alfred to come save him. 2 days later, Bruce wakes up, notes that the fear toxin is a lot like what they smoked out when he was being trained. But now it's weaponized. Lucius is there, and he says he did some chemistry, needed to cure whatever the toxin does, and Bruce is like, what does that mean, Lucius? Because after 60 years of Batman being a ninja, master detective, brilliant scientist, he's now been reduced to a gadget junkie who punches people. He doesn't need to be smart anymore. He's got the old guy brigade backing him up. Rachel shows up at Wayne Manor because it's Bruce's birthday, and she gives him a gift and dips out before his party on account of her boss being murdered and Falcone being moved to Arkham. Oh, it's the Arrowhead. They're still good friends. She still cares. It's great. So Bruce hits some notes on his piano, opens a secret entrance, and takes his old elevator down to the Batcave. Awesome. Earl comes down and asks about the microwave emitter that got stolen, and then he fires Lucius. Rachel goes to Arkham and raises suspicions about Crane's operation, so he takes her to a basement, where she sees them pouring drugs into the water supply. She runs, he attacks her, dopes her up on fear toxin, and then kaboom! Lights go out, Batman's there! And then Bat Attack! Spinny, zippy karate shit, and Scarecrow's all hee hee hee. And Batman zaps him with his own fear toxin and proceeds to interrogate him and finds out that he's working for Ra's al Ghul. But he's dead! Right. The cops show up, SWAT team shows up, Gordon goes in to find Batman, who hands over the drugged up Rachel Dawes and tells Gordon to meet him outside. Batman gets out this little button that somehow makes bats show up and break the windows and flood the place, then he escapes in all the chaos. Gordon hands Rachel back to Batman, and here comes the Tumbler, which drives over this cop car, killing these two officers who are somehow still okay. Atomic batteries to power, bitches! He tells Rachel to be calm and then does all this shit. And takes her to the Batcave. Back at Arkham, some nerds tell Gordon that Gotham's entire water supply has been laced with the fear toxin, but no one is affected because it has to be absorbed through the lungs. So either no one takes steamy showers in Gotham, or I don't understand chemistry. Probably a little bit of both. Rachel wakes up in the Batcave and talks to Batman, who gives the Bat cure for the fear toxin, and knocks her out again. Basically the exact same thing that happened in the 89 Batman. Introduce Batmobile, take girl to Batcave, give her the info, knock her out. That's how Batman likes to spend his Thursday nights. Up at Bruce's party, Alfred is pretty pissed about the Batmobile.
It's a miracle no one was killed.
No, it's impossible that no one was killed. Bruce wants to cancel the party, but Alfred tells him not to destroy his father's good name because it's all that's left of him. Bruce gets to the party, talks with Earl about his company. Moving on! Gordon interrogates Crane, and then he's like, too late for them. Bruce finds Lucius at the party and tells him the drug is in the water supply, and Lucius realizes the microwave emitter is going to be used to disperse the fear toxin as an inhalant. Okay, then this lady grabs Bruce to introduce him to this dude in the Ra's al Ghul cosplay. Bruce is like,
You're not Ra's al Ghul. I watched him die.
And this chick is just, okay, awkward, never mind. And oh, look, it's Ducard. He was Ra's al Ghul the whole time. I would be shocked if I had any idea why this mattered. What's the point of having people pretend to be you, and they're always bald Asian guys who have the same mustache as you? What? This is Ra's al Ghul. Liam Neeson makes a great Al Ghul. He says his name, then he immediately says he represents Ra's al Ghul. And if fans were told he was there from the get-go, we just get to enjoy the character the whole time.
What's the point of his secrecy?
For fans, passive audiences, and Bruce Wayne, it is utterly meaningless. So then Bruce pretends to be drunk and kicks everyone out of his mansion, and Ra's al Ghul lays out his plan. Basically, he made Crane think they were going to hold the city to ransom, but really they just want to make everyone crazy with fear toxin. Some crooked SWAT guys beat up an Arkham guard and let all the criminals out, including the Scarecrow and Zaz for some reason. Ra's admits he still wants Bruce to work with him, but Bruce don't want it. So he burns down Wayne Manor, they fight, Bruce loses, and they leave him for dead. SWAT guys blow holes in the Arkham walls, and all the loonies get out on the island. Rachel wakes up, grabs the antidote, Alfred wakes Bruce up and gets him down to the Batcave as Wayne Manor collapses into flames. At the bottom of the elevator shaft, Alfred gives Bruce a surrogate daddy pep talk. And down in the Narrows, cops are trying to round up all the escaped lunatics. Rachel makes her way to Gordon and gives him the antidote. And with every available cop on the island, they raise the bridges. But Ra's is there with the microwave emitter. This is too satisfying. And Ra's turns the machine on, instantly vaporizing the toxin, drugging everyone on the island. These water utility guys tell us about the scene we just saw. Gordon inoculates himself against the fear toxin.
Batman pseudo montage!
Meanwhile, in the Narrows, Scarecrow gets a horse. That's terrifying. Batman shows up in the Narrows and explains to Gordon that the microwave emitter is on the train, and when it gets to Wayne Towers, which is the center of the water and utilities, the whole city will be covered in the toxin. But does anybody get the idea yet? And this movie is full of compelling, quotable dialogue on fear. But when Scarecrow, the master of fear, attacks Rachel, he's just...
There's nothing to fear but fear itself.
and gets tased in the face. Well, oh, that's over now. Okay, bye, Scarecrow. Zsasz shows up with a knife. Batman grabs him and takes out a bunch of escaped lunatics while Gordon gets into the Batmobile. Then Rachel asks Batman for his true identity, and he fucking tells her, "It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me." Why is he telling her that? Don't do that, Batman. Batman fights some goons, escapes a horde of fear-induced citizens, and this old guy explains that the central area was Wayne Towers, and if the train gets there, the whole city is. Gordon follows the train in the tumbler. Batman bashes through the window and fights Raz, hits him right in his big stupid demon head. Back to the old guy. Wayne is the center of the... Shut up already! Batman keeps fighting Raz. Gordon blows up the support beams for the train. Batman gets the upper hand, tells Raz he's not gonna kill him, but he's not gonna save him, which might seem hypocritical, but this kind of short-sightedness has been there since he refused to execute the murderer who definitely burned to death in the fire that he caused. Oops. The train crashes, Raz dies, the emitter explodes. So the next day, Earl comes to work and finds out that he's been fired. Lucius has his job now, and Bruce used his billions of dollars to buy his company back. Then Bruce boards up the old well, and Rachel shows up at the charred remains of his house, and they have a little moment. And she says when Gotham no longer needs Batman, they could maybe date or something? I don't know. They kiss, and when was this on the table? Anyway, Bruce says he'll rebuild the house exactly as it was, and Alfred points out that it's a good time to better integrate the house with the Batcave. Gordon put together a little bat signal which draws Batman out like a moth to a flame. He says he's been promoted to lieutenant, and things are really changing, some for the better and others for worse. For instance, countless lunatics escaped Arkham, the Narrows have been completely destroyed and covered in madness, and there's this guy killing people and leaving playing the Joker! It's the Joker! Hooray! With the Batcave under construction, Gordon rising to commissioner, and a town full of dangerous lunatics, the stage is set for a Batman universe to expand boundlessly. The end! Now, this guy was great for old bats here, because he was original, he was dark, and more importantly, as a film student, he slipped a bat signal into his film. Right there, we went a little heavy on the exposition, so that nothing could just simply be accepted or left to the imagination. And yeah, Nolan's Bat movies are praised for being more realistic. I mean, compared to other Batman movies. But honestly, most of these scenes could be mistaken for a crime drama, or even just scenes from The Office. In the end, it stands on its own because, anyone catch that we're mentioning fear a lot? That's called a theme. It isn't a character or an object in the movie, but it's an idea that affects everyone in the story. That's called writing. And the carrying over of fatherly advice from Alfred and Thomas Wayne, which merge with ideals from villains, Batman shows us how the dark and the light can be used to shape a person for a greater purpose, even in the face of meaningless tragedies.
The movie!
The Dark Knight.
The plot!
As Batman begins to see Gotham crime-free thanks to help from Gordon and a new DA, the city is thrust into chaos at the hands of an unpredictable psychopathic clown.
The characters!
Batman, Bruce Wayne.
A vigilante operating in the cover of night to bring justice to his city.
The Joker.
A homicidal agent of chaos with seemingly no history.
Harvey Dent.
The brave, charming, and righteous DA set on bringing justice to his city.
Jim Gordon.
A good cop and head of the major crimes unit.
Rachel Dawes.
Assistant DA, Harvey's new girlfriend, and Bruce's one true love.
Lucius Fox.
Batman's trusted companion and tech supplier at Wayne Industries.
Alfred Pennyworth.
Bruce Wayne's butler and pretty much Batman's sidekick. After that crazy cool return of Batman in Begins, this movie was highly anticipated, but raised grave concerns due to the inclusion of pretty boy Heath Ledger as insane clown Joker. But these folks were unfamiliar with, first, his winning smile and his unusual indie film career. And even I was worried when I saw he was doing face paint instead of, bleached skin. Come on! Just admit you're doing a comic book movie. Anyway, Ledger died, which created a laser beam interest in his performance, and the result was a haunting and stunning depiction of a larger-than-life lunatic that totally stole every scene in a movie that should have been called Something Something Joker or something. So it continues. The Bat logo comes out of some fire. A band of robbers wearing clown masks. And if that mask looks familiar, that's because it's a reference to an episode of Bewitched, or probably this episode of Batman. Oh, look at the Joker! A band of robbers wearing clown masks descend on a bank while talking about the Joker who planned the heist and is sitting it out. Fun fact, 90s kids, that's Blossom's brother Tony. Well, it used to be. Every time a guy finishes his part of the job, they get killed by another bank robber to make fewer shares, until a crazy banker with a shotgun starts taking them out too, because they're robbing a bank run by mobsters. They pile up a bunch of bags full of cash, and then after a bus rams into the bank, there's just one guy left who turns out to be the Joker. That's the Joker. Pretty much every beat of this intro is compelling, intense, and uncomfortable enough that you already don't know what the Joker's going to do, like sneaking a bus right out of a demolished bank wall. It's kind of like when the Batmobile disappeared on the road just by backing up.
Oh my God, it just disappeared! It's a ghost car!
I falls on Gotham City and criminals are hiding out because of that bat-like signal in the sky. I mean, seriously, the bat signal has just degraded over the years, starting in '66 when it was this pretty beacon of not exactly realistic special effects, and then all the way through the '90s just getting fuzzier and blurrier and more cloudy, and on into the Nolan-verse until it became this blurry schmurtle-lark over the building somewhere. And the cops, like Warts and Ramirez here, are pretty damn bored. Even Gordon is just hanging out with the bat signal, blasting it just for the hell of it, because Batman's busy busting criminals. Or he will be in a second, because this Russian mobster is doing a drug deal with the Scarecrow. So, a guy who said,
I respect the mind's power over the body.
has just been reduced to a drug dealer in a suit. Where's the horse in the straitjacket? Mobsters all get shot up by Batman with a gun? Nope, it's a bunch of dorks in crappy Batman cosplay shooting criminals. So finally, Batman shows up. He's got gadgets, he's got ninja moves, and he's got criminals. He ties up the bad guys and the bad guys. Quick lecture, and he's out of there. Back at the bank, Gordon and Batman talk about the stolen money, which they cleverly mark, and they talk about the Joker. Batman says he can wait while they take on the mob, even though they've been after this guy for like a year.
How did taste for the theatrical like you?
Oh, that and a 6-inch scar across his face, clown makeup, and long green hair. But here's a card. That should be enough to start a proper investigation. Mentions the new DA, who's gonna want in on this mob-busting plan. Next morning, Alfred brings breakfast to Bruce, who is MIA at the Wayne penthouse. So he's off to a Wayne construction site where secret elevator, the tumbler. Wait.
What happened to the Batcave?
Okay, whatever. It's fine. So Bruce and Alfred talk about the Bat copycats, being Batman, and no, seriously, why is there no Batcave? It's not like Batman was limited to using a cave. He does it because he likes the darkness. Even if he had to find an alternative, I don't think it would be an underground, unfurnished Apple store. Court time! Harvey and Rachel are trying to nail this guy Maroney as the crime boss who took over after Falcone lost it all with a blast of fear toxin to the face. Things get crazy when this goon unsuccessfully attempts to kill Harvey Dent. Harvey tells Rachel he's got to go meet Gordon, who's head of the MCU, that's Major Crimes Unit. And she tells him that Gordon is a friend, but they don't totally trust each other yet because Harvey used to bust cops back when he worked at Internal Affairs, but he's gonna help Gordon with the search and seizure of several banks purported to be mob-owned. Meanwhile, over at the Wayne building, also not as flashy as it used to be, big-time Chinese businessman Lau is at a board meeting with sleepy Bruce Wayne. Coleman Reese here is embarrassed because he's an accountant who was hired to look over all the numbers for the big merger with Lau. But Lucius has got Bruce's back as always, and the two of them think Lau may be into something illegal.
No deal.
Then Bruce says he wants a new bat suit so that he can
Turn your head.
You know, a lot of people might have never noticed that if he hadn't said anything. So Rachel and Harvey end up on a double date at a swanky restaurant with Bruce Wayne. Harvey then impresses Bruce with his convictions in support of Batman. So Bruce says he'll throw him a fundraiser with a bunch of billionaires. Yay for everyone at this table. Later on, all the big crime bosses of Gotham meet in this kitchen. Italian, African, Russian. It's a regular after-school special up in here. Oh, and Lau pops up for a video conference. Dun dun dun. Yeah, he's a bad dude. And he tells the guy that some dirty cops informed him Gordon was going to take all their money from their mob banks. So he had every dollar moved and took it to Hong Kong with him. Just then, eerie, echoey laughter introduces the Joker. He's got a swanky new suit, and I'm not gonna say that we've seen this scene before, but after the loss of a major crime boss, the Joker sits at the head of a table of racially diverse mobsters, proposes his plan, kills one disagreeable guy, someone insults him, then he threatens to kill them all right there, but then he just gives them some time to consider his plan. His plan is he wants half their money as payment for killing Batman, which he hasn't done yet. But this dude doesn't like it and he puts out a reward to have the Joker killed. So you got your first heaping dose of Heath Ledger's Joker. He's pretty different from the goofy interpretations we've seen before, but at least he's still cracking bad jokes. And they were all indiscriminate killers, they were all clowns, but aside from the look, the real difference here is that previous Jokers thought everything was funny, whereas this guy isn't really having a laugh. He doesn't think anything's funny. He simply doesn't take anything seriously. Later that night, Harvey Dent lights up the bat signal, which draws out the Bat and Gordon to the roof. Gordon and Dent argue about the mole who helped the mob get their money out of the bank, blaming each other, and Batman just stands there awkwardly like a kid in divorce counseling, until Dent asks Batman to get Lau back in Gotham from Hong Kong. So Bruce, Lucius, and Alfred put together a crazy plan to kidnap Lau. It's all explained, but I don't think people really retain any of it. It's just there so the audience can't say there's plot holes. And as an alibi, he drags the entire Russian ballet to go on a yacht with him, and then about 24 women and a small boat crew watch Bruce Wayne mysteriously disappear on a smuggling plane. Good alibi. Meanwhile, some goons bring Joker's dead body to this mobster. But the joke's on him because the Joker ain't dead, and he delivers an award-winning monologue about his Glasgow smile. Seriously, if there's a better monologue where the character is 100% lying through the whole thing, I don't know what it is. Joker kills the dude and recruits his henchmen. Zip on over to Hong Kong where Lucius Fox has arrived to meet with Mr. Lau about the Wayne merger. He leaves a cell phone with security and tells Lau the merger is off. Lucius Fox is the king of sass. Honestly, if you say something asinine to this guy, he will throw it back in your face.
Spelunky.
Expecting to run into much gunfire in these caves?
I'm firing you. Did you get the memo?
I got another job. Yours. Didn't you get the memo?
I know that Mr. Wayne is curious about how his trust fund gets replenished.
Do them again. Wouldn't want the trust fund to run out.
I couldn't let such a thing threaten my company. A businessman of your stature will understand.
We can't afford to be seen to do business with whatever it is you're accused of being. I'm sure a businessman of your stature will understand.
And that's why he's just butthurt when Lau deals it back to him.
Mr. Wayne didn't want you to think that he was deliberately wasting your time.
Just accidentally wasting it.
That's very good, Mr. Lau. Accidentally.
Lucius meets Mr. Wayne outside, who is prepping to go grab Lau, and he gives him a gadget that'll use the cell phone on the building like a sonar so he can see what's going on in the building remotely. Later that night, Batman's up on the building in his hip new, flexible, and form-fitting batsuit. And for the first time since the 60s, a live-action Batman is able to move his neck. And he makes his attack on Lau's building. A few ninja fights, a hostage-taking, and 3 mini-bombs later, Batman gets picked up by his Korean smugglers. Yes, Korean smugglers. Yes, it's all explained in prior scenes. Google Skyhook if you want to know more. So, Gordon finds Lau passed out on the police doorsteps, and they take him in. Interrogation room. Fearing what the mobsters might do to him, Lau makes a deal to testify in court, selling out basically everybody at this table. Dent says they can try all the gangsters at the same time as conspirators. Sounds like fun. Later on, down at the mob boss diner, Gordon interrupts lunch to arrest everybody. Judge Cirillo oversees the case of like 500 criminals all at once. Lots of crime. Joker card. That's not good, Cirillo. Mayor Garcia is kind of ticked about the whole thing, worried that coming down so hard on the mob is going to make things dangerous for him. He should share Batman's taste for justice, for after all, he is the one and only...
But Manuel.
Thought I'd seen those sexy dark eyes before. Anyway, a dead Batman slams against the mayor's office window. Yes, it's one of those copycats. Dead. Alfred and Bruce are setting up for Harvey's fundraiser, and Alfred's all...
For socializing beyond myself and the scum of Gotham's underbelly.
Whoa, Alfred, keep it down a little. They see the dead copy bat on TV, which is followed by the release of a video from the Joker, where he tells the people of Gotham he's gonna kill somebody every day until the real Batman reveals his true identity publicly. Bruce arrives by helicopter to Harvey's fundraiser, still playing the part of the douchey billionaire, but much more welcoming to his guests since that fire incident only a year ago. I bet that one lady didn't show back up, though. Bruce endorses Harvey Dent to the trust fund crowd, and then tries to steal his girlfriend. He implores that he won't need to be Batman very long if Harvey keeps up his good work. Meanwhile, Ramirez tells Gordon that the Joker's note had some DNA on it, belonging to Judge Cirillo, Harvey Dent, and Commissioner Loeb. Must be his next targets. Gordon goes to protect Loeb. Some other cops go to warn Cirillo, and Harvey is proposing to Rachel, until Bruce chokes him out. Cirillo gets blown up, and Loeb drinks acid or something. Joker shows up at the party looking for Harvey, who Bruce hides away in a closet. Joker intimidates the crowd and then goes for Rachel, telling a completely different story about his scars. And then Batman shows up and fights some of Joker's clown goons. After attempting to force Batman to take off the mask, Joker tosses Rachel out the window, and Batman goes after her. They survive. Later at the police station, Dent shows up to take Lau to court. Meanwhile, in the Bat bunker... Alfred tells Bruce that he just doesn't understand the Joker, comparing him to a jewel thief Alfred once hunted in Burma, who simply stole jewels just to mess with people. It's such a good anecdote that we're just gonna glaze over the fact that we just learned that Alfred used to be British military. News comes out of yet another murder. Gordon finds 2 victims by name of Mr. Harvey and Mr. Dent. Batman takes a brick stuffed with shattered bullet pieces, and Mayor Garcia is in tomorrow's obituary. Back to the bunker. This thing, what? X-ray scanning, pile of bricks. Meanwhile, at Wayne Industries, Reese figured out who Batman is and wants millions of dollars to keep quiet. Fox reminds him that Batman is a ninja and a billionaire, so blackmail is not a good idea. Next up, downstairs, a magic computer reconstructs a bullet and finds what appears to be the Joker's fingerprint. Lucius asks Bruce about an R&D project Reese mentioned, but Bruce doesn't want to talk about it. So now it's parade funeral time for Commissioner Loeb, and the mayor is outside for some reason. And then back in the Bat bunker, they get a match on the fingerprint. An apartment overlooking the parade. The cops try to keep an eye out for a sniper while Bruce sneaks into the suspect apartment, where he finds the honor guard from the parade tied up. Joker and some guys disguised as honor guard open fire on the mayor, but Gordon jumps up and takes a bullet in the back. All the cops go bananas, and as the Jingle Bells parody says, the Joker got away. Gordon is down, and Dent is pissed off as he interrogates the Joker's goon, but that guy's got a name tag that says Rachel Dawes. Fearing for Rachel's life, Harvey kidnaps the goon in an ambulance. Cops tell Mrs. Gordon that Jim is dead. Same cops wait for Batman at the Bat Signal while they get hammered. That's just what I figure Gotham cops always do with their downtime. Batman goes dancing at the club and grabs up Maroni. Dent calls Rachel and tells her to go hide somewhere, and he starts interrogating the goon, while Batman interrogates Maroni. After one leg break and a lot of gargling,
Someone knows where he is.
Batman learns nothing. While Dent flips a coin to decide if this goon is gonna die or not, Batman interrupts the whole thing, and God, that mask looks uncomfortable. It's like a snorkeling mask. Batman tells Dent,
You gotta get on the news, Harvey. I'm gonna tell everyone my secret identity.
Dent doesn't like that plan. Bruce and Rachel talk, and she says she wants to be with him when he can stop being Batman. Oh, y'all suck. Bat bunker again. Alfred urges Batman to keep his identity a secret and to not give in to the Joker's demands. So Dent, Rachel, and Alfred all think this is a bad idea.
On with the idea.
Dent holds a press conference and takes the fall and confesses to being Batman. Rachel is shocked. She's all sorts of mad and gives Alfred a letter to give to Bruce. Down at the jailhouse, Rachel tries to convince Harvey not to do this. They smooch, and then Dent gives Rachel his coin he's been flipping, which is a two-sided coin. He wasn't leaving anything to chance this whole time, so a bunch of cops and SWAT guys are transporting Dent when this truck shows up. Beautiful. Joker and his goons keep on shooting until Batman shows up, blocks a bazooka shot with his tumbler, and the chase continues. The tumbler is badly damaged, but that's okay because it breaks apart and turns into the Batpod. Because if your Batmobile is cool in part 1, in part 2, you gotta cut it in half. Batman, stop breaking people's things.
Oh my god, please stop.
Okay, that one's on the Joker, but
What are you doing?
okay, that was cool and necessary. Joker comes out in the street and Batman comes at him while he's all,
Come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. Come on, hit me. You gruesome son of a bitch. Come to me.
and Batman misses and crashes. But it was all a trap. Gordon's alive, they catch the Joker, let Harvey go. The end. Wait a second. So Wirtz and Ramirez help Dent get away from the media, and Gordon talks with Garcia about Joker's complete lack of a record, and the mayor dubs him Commissioner Gordon. Okay, Gordon's a commissioner, the Bat Bunker's been shut down, Joker's in custody, Bat fans are back on track.
Finally.
While Gordon lets his family know he's not dead, this big fella with a tummy ache gets put away with the Joker, and Gordon's family time is interrupted by an urgent message. Interrogation room, where Gordon confronts the Joker about a sudden disappearance of Harvey Dent. Joker acts like he doesn't know anything, so send in the Bat. Joker seems pretty confident as he lectures Batman on the difference between ordinary people and the two of them, but their honeymoon's cut short when Joker reveals that he's kidnapped Rachel as well. Batman tries to punch some answers out of him, and this is where the Joker wins. Not only is this scene totally his while he laughs his way through being beaten, but he's got Batman completely at a loss. Joker tells him where Rachel and Harvey are, and Batman's off to save Rachel while the police go to save Harvey.
Community Wiley.
Rachel and Harvey are locked up in separate warehouses, attached to tons of gasoline barrels and a ticking time bomb and a phone so they can talk to each other. And the Joker is taunting a cop, and the guy with the tummy ache is getting worse. And Rachel says only one of them will survive, to which Harvey responds by spilling over the gasoline and falling over. And Joker keeps taunting the guy into a fight, which leads to an escape by way of exploding the phone in this dude's stomach, blowing up police HQ.
Oh my god.
And Rachel tells Harvey she wants to marry him. And Batman arrives to save Harvey.
Whoops.
Rachel explodes, the other building explodes, and Harvey, having been half dipped in gasoline, catches on fire. Joker gets Lau out of his cell, and Gordon realizes that Joker was captured on purpose.
Oh boy, what a plan.
Little bit of joyriding. Alfred sits down and reads Rachel's note, which basically says she's gonna marry Harvey Dent and goodbye. Batman leaves the two-sided coin found at Rachel's death scene with Harvey, who is in intensive care. Alfred tries to let Bruce know that Gotham needs Batman, but Bruce is too bummed out about Rachel dying and says she was gonna wait for him.
Oh boy, is he wrong.
Alfred decides against giving Bruce Rachel's note, and Harvey wakes up in the hospital and finds the coin he left with Rachel, one side badly burned. Meanwhile, on the news, Reese is on the air about to reveal Batman's identity, so Gordon goes to visit Dent to find out what crooked cops kidnapped him. But Harvey reminds him of his old nickname at Internal Affairs, which was Two-Face.
Yeah, it was Two-Face.
And Maroni shows up to tell Gordon where the Joker is. Twisty! So while Joker is partying with a mountain of cash and some mobsters, Gordon's men move in. Money goes up in flames, and Joker calls the news and says instead of revealing Batman's identity, Coleman Reese has to die or the Joker's gonna blow up a hospital. Well, now, this third act is off to a complicated start. So instead of going after the Joker, the priority becomes evacuating hospitals and saving Coleman Reese. Joker, delicately disguised as a nurse, kills some cops and wakes up Two-Face for a 101 lecture in chaos. His monologue is so fantastic, he convinces Harvey to blame the cops for Rachel's death. This guy wants to shoot Reese. This guy wants to ram him. And Batman saves the day. Him and Reese have a moment of eye contact, and Joker blows up the hospital, kidnaps a newsman, and makes the guy read his very vague threats towards the entire city. Meanwhile, Lucius checks out a break-in at the R&D, where he finds this whack-ass setup. The National Guard shows up, while Wirtz is confronted by Two-Face. This right here is a shining example of how Nolan's interpretation of Batman's world makes no sense. Sometimes. The guy's a fantastic filmmaker and has great writers, but why the abandonment of this science fiction aspect? I don't get it. It's too absurd the Joker would have bleached skin, so he paints his face and carves himself up. Sure. But Two-Face, it's too absurd that he was half melted by acid, so he is burned up by gasoline, and with no drugs in his system and no skin graft, he just walks around like this the next day? Not drooling constantly, speaking clearly. And yes, it looks cool, but it's clearly absurd, because that's what comic books are. Admit it. Wear it like a badge, like they do at the MCU. The cops at the Major Crimes Unit. Gordon's unit, the MCU. They wear badges down there. Proudly. Two-Face flips a coin and kills Wirtz. Batman explains the crazy new machine to Lucius using his sonar device. He's hacked into every cell phone in Gotham and gets Lucius to help him find the Joker. Gordon lays out a plan with the mayor to get citizens and inmates off the island, while Two-Face finds out from Maroni that Ramirez was working for the Joker. He lets Maroni go, kills Maroni's driver. That coin sure is troublesome. So over at the ferries, one ferry has citizens, another has prison inmates. Both are rigged with explosives, which this one can blow up that, or that one can blow up the other, and if they don't, Joker blows them both up at midnight anyway. This plan is so contrived even even the Joker had to write it down to make any sense of it. Anyway, Bats and Fox locate the Joker while Ramirez gets Gordon's family to come out of hiding at the request of Two-Face, who is holding a gun on her. He flips a coin, no dead Ramirez. The situation at the ferries gets more and more desperate while Batman and the cops surround the Joker's building where he has clown henchmen and hospital hostages all over the place.
See?
Gordon is freaking out. Batman goes in. With Lucius's help, he realizes the clown henchmen are the hostages, and what appear to be hostages are actually henchmen, and the SWAT's coming up the stairs.
Basically, everything is happening.
Oh, and in the middle of this, Two-Face calls Gordon and tells him he's taking his family hostage. Okay, back to Batman. Batman attacks the SWAT team, the ferries don't blow up, and just when the Joker's got the upper hand, backtrack, and off goes the Joker. Joker's be falling for Belton so much, they ought to inform the Weather Channel on it. But Batman saves the Joker, who delivers yet another compelling and eerie speech. So Batman tries to do the same, but that snorkeling goggle of a mask just has him all...
Just showed you that it's full of people ready to believe in good.
Gordon ends up in the blown-out building where Rachel died, and Two-Face has a gun on his wife and kids. Batman shows up, they all argue, and Two-Face flips the coin for Batman. Bang! Flips the coin for himself. No bang. Flips the Oh, Batman throws himself in dent off the building. Sure, save the Joker, kill the DA, who's pretty much just having the worst day ever. Gordon points out that all the good that Harvey did will be undone when people hear what he did. And after a little mouth-breathing monologue...
Either die, hero, or you live long enough.
Batman says he'll take the blame for the things Harvey did, because a little white lie can go a long way, as illustrated in Alfred burning Rachel's note. So Batman becomes a fugitive, Lucius destroys the sonar machine, and Gordon says some of the most intense shit his son will ever hear a grown man say.
He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector.
The end.
Some people say this was the best comic book movie ever, but really it's more like the best movie that was based on a comic book. It's an objectively good film, beautifully shot, visual and sound are used subtly to convey emotion, and the performance by Heath Ledger ranks high in movie history. But comic book? Batman was so punch-happy and unintelligent, it's no wonder Nolan never introduced the Riddler, because Bale Batman would pretty much just try to punch the answers out of him. And the Joker, while he tapped into the psychology and presence of the Joker, his mythos was completely bastardized here. This is just the price you pay for letting a director tell his vision of a classic hero, rather than trying to make a product that is true to the source material. It's a risk, but sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it puts nipples on your batsuit and neon lights everywhere! But like it, love it, or whatever, as a standalone film, this explains the Joker and Batman's relationship in a way that is satisfying to fans. When in previous incarnations it was all there, but just more subtle, with no explanation. But there's something more universal here, and it's what this murdering psychopath has to say. People ignore terrible things if it's all part of the plan, but when things go wrong, anyone can turn into the Joker. The fairies not blowing up might have you thinking he's wrong, but as with Two-Face, and in reality, that is pretty debatable. The Joker might represent the worst part of humanity, but he still represents a part of humanity, and that is downright terrifying.
The movie.
The Dark Knight Rises.
The plot.
Years after Batman takes the blame for Harvey's death, he is forced out of retirement when Gotham comes under attack by a vengeful terrorist.
The characters.
Bruce Wayne, Batman, a crippled former superhero who just hides out in his mansion. Bane, a mysterious terrorist remnant from a ninja league of vigilantes. John Blake, a good cop. Commissioner Gordon, police commissioner and the only living witness to Batman's sacrifice. Selina Kyle, a talented cat burglar. They promised it would be epic, and they promised it would be a finale, and they had some pretty big shoes to fill after dominating with a film like The Dark Knight. And with the main event, Heath Ledger no longer among us, there was doubt it was even possible. But Nolan promised the films would be standalone, and he also made Inception right before the whole country started talking about the 1% and Occupy Wall Street began, which of course was this huge movement against the rich having it all while the rest of the world suffer, and that may come up in here. But this is almost 3 hours long, so let's get started. The Bat logo forms in some ice. That's something I noticed they do a lot in Batman movies, so opening with the Bat signal either as well as or instead of the title of the film. I mean, that's a weird little convention reserved just for the Batman movies to have a symbol in place with the title, and it's kind of cool that they kept it up for this long. Commissioner Gordon is giving a speech on how great Harvey Dent was, and then these mercenaries drive up to an airship to meet up with, Littlefinger? I mean, the CIA! And they pass off this dude, Dr. Pavel, and some hood-covered prisoners who they say work for Bane. Dun dun dun. So later on a plane, Littlefinger pretends to execute the bad guys to get them talking. And one of them does start talking, and he sounds like a Scottish Optimus Prime.
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
It's Bane! Dun dun dun.
Was getting caught part of your plan?
Of course.
Of course, that's everyone's plan. And his plan gets even better because it's all done practically. I mean that effects-wise, because as a plan it makes no damn sense. This big cargo plane harpoons the jet and they fake a crash by killing everyone on board, doing a mid-air blood transfusion with a dead body and the doctor who they already had in their custody, and never mind that the wings were ripped off miles away from where the plane finally crashed, and then Bane convinces a follower to stay behind to match the manifest of passengers because the rest of this doesn't look suspicious at all. Okay, Gotham City. City again. There's a party at Wayne Manor where they're honoring Harvey Dent and crapping all over Batman for killing him. Oh no. It's been 8 years since Batman retired, and Bruce Wayne has been secluded to the East Wing the whole time. And then Alfred sends some hired help to bring him a meal, this little eager maid who I'm sure we can trust, while Roland Daggett... John Daggett talks to Miranda Tate about Bruce's seclusion. Just a couple of super rich Gothamites. She's like into saving the world, he's just into money. So Deputy Commissioner Peter Foley is talking with, Congressman? Yeah, talking about Jim Gordon being divorced and bored. Man, coming off that big finish 8 years later, Gotham has gotten really depressing and massively lame and boring, and that is saying a lot. So Selina sneaks into Bruce's hideaway and steals his dead mother's pearl necklace and kicks the broken beardy Bruce, and he's just so entertained by this. She escapes and takes off with Congressman. And Bruce discovers that she also dusted his safe for his prints? Yeah, okay, then this guy, Mr. Good Cop, points out that Gotham is super safe now and then asks Gordon if he ever wondered who Batman was. He's like, nope. And when Alfred finds that Bruce ain't in his giant nipple bed the next morning, he realizes he's in it's the Batcave, finally. I'm not sure how or when he built this, since he was still in the underground eye store when he retired, but whatever. Then we hit the brakes a little after Bruce crushes on his new suspect a bit, which gets Alfred all worked up, talking about how he imagined them glancing at each other wordlessly at a random cafe in Europe, you know, back when Bruce was getting beat up by prisoners and Liam Neeson. Alfred was hoping he was settled down, wearing a sweater like a Superman cape. Next up, Officer Blake recognizes a murder victim from his old boy's home. So there he goes then. Finds out that the kids aren't getting enough care because the Wayne Foundation stopped helping out, and the murder victim's little brother says there's work in the sewers for stray kids, and he still believes in Batman. Okay. And then you start just wanting to watch Dark Knight again because this story is a little batless, as in without bats. Oh, we're at a bar with Selina and Stryver, Daggett's vice president. She gives him a copy of Bruce's fingerprints, and instead of paying her for the job, he threatens to kill her, but she has Congressman with her, who has been missing since she met him at the party. So, the cops show up. Oh my god, there's a shootout! Selina escapes by acting stupid and weak. Gordon and Blake make chase all the way to the sewers. Blake's like, the sewer? But after a small explosion, Gordon gets captured, and Foley tells everyone to hold up now. But Blake's got a plan anyway. Gordon gets dragged into Bane's lair. Dun dun dun. Bane's gross and damaged and just kills a bunch of his goons, and Gordon gets away. Sort of. Blake finds him leg injured and half drowned, which prompts him to go see Bruce Wayne. Why, you might ask? To accuse him of being Batman. And he knows this because as an orphan child, he used a fake smile. And one time he saw Bruce Wayne in person, and he fake smiled too.
Case closed!
But he also tells him all about Gordon meeting Bane in the sewers, which Alfred investigates before the cop can even get to his car. And it turns out Bane works for John Daggett.
Case closed!
So Bruce goes to a doctor in Gordon's hospital and he's told he's basically got the body of a 95-year-old man. But whatever, it's amateur Batman time. He puts on a ski mask and zips down to Gordon's room. Gordon wants Batman to come back, but ski mask man in the business suit isn't too sure it's a good time for that. Meanwhile, over at Selina's place, she's roughing up some dude for her hooker roommate and then gets followed by Bruce Wayne to a charity ball where all the paparazzi freak out over his emergence. It turns out the ball is Tate's ball. This sounds really gross for some reason. There's some more vague chatter about some world-saving project of his that she wants in on, which, after a series of nods to older Batmans in all the Nolan films, this one is probably the heaviest. It's just like when Bruce and Selina dance together at the Masquerade Ball in Batman Returns. You know, the best love story ever.
I guess I'm tired of wearing masks.
Me too.
Just because you were born in the master bedroom of Wayne.
Actually, I was born in the Regis.
I think I do more to help someone than most of the people in this room.
Uh-huh.
You think all this can last? There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne.
Why is this so boring? This is the romance to top his lifelong connection to Rachel Dawes, being quippy and clever with a gold-digging cat burglar who bitches about topical political drama. All the best romances begin with dead-eyed political debates. Oh, then she steals his car. So, over to see Lucius. There was this big energy project that ate up all the Wayne money and was wasted because Bruce thinks it's dangerous or something. I don't know, it's still vague. But Lucius wants Miranda Tate to gear it up again before Daggett gets his hands on Wayne's stocks. Or shares, or something, I think. Screw it. Here's some Batman fight scenes from the animated series, because I'm worried that people are starting to get bored. So even though he's retired, Lucius gives him a tour of the new secret R&D warehouse where he's keeping more tumblers and stuff, because apparently a lot of them were made and held in facilities all over the globe. Sure, fine. Then it's like a bunch of technobabble about some off-camera thing that Lucius calls the Bat. He says it works great, except for the autopilot, and right away this tiny magic device makes Bruce's leg usable again and super strong. Alfred's done more digging and finds finds that Bane was once imprisoned in a pit in the middle of nowhere because he was excommunicated from the League of Shadows. Okay, now over to Gotham City Stock Exchange. Bunch of rich people surrounded by suspicious underlings that are probably, yep, they're all terrorists.
Fight Club did it better.
We guard you while you sleep.
So Bane and his boys take the stock exchange hostage, guns, smacking, and computer hacking. Cops show up. More important discussion about the 1%. Blake can't get this cement truck to move. It's intense. It's calm for 20 seconds, and then, oh my god, how'd they get those motorcycles in the building? Bane escapes with his guys, and the cops chase him, and Batman shows up.
Finally.
Meanwhile, Catwoman's breaking into a safe somewhere, and Folia's getting all excited about catching Batman, but Blake wants to catch the bad guys. But Batman catches a bad guy. So, oh, whoa, it's the Batwing. Can I say it's the Batwing? You know, the Batwing has a long history of being impossibly unaerodynamic, but this one fails that, and it isn't shaped like a bat, so what's the point? Next scene. Whatever Bane did was successful, and Daggett's happy about it until Selina attacks him with her shoes and steals him through a window. She wants her payment, which is this clean slate program, which would wipe her criminal record clean. Then when Bane's boys surround her, Batman shows up and knocks away her gun and helps her fight. But she ain't happy because she's like, I want my own gun. I like to kill people because murder is fun for me.
That's quite a lady you got there, Batman.
And they narrowly escape just as Bane arrives. They take off in the Bat and shoot him. Shoot Bane right there. Explode his head. Do something. They land somewhere. She tells him stuff. Later on in the Batcave, Alfred points out that Bane is quite capable of kicking Batman's ass. But all Bruce wants is Alfred to do more investigating. And then classic Alfred doesn't want all the Waynes to die. And then he tells him about the letter he burned because fuck the moral of the story in the best film of the franchise. Yeah, this is much better. It's a good thing that Michael Caine could carry a scene even if it was made of lead poo, because he's the only good thing about this right now. Bruce fires him.
Bye, Alfred.
He wakes up the next day and Lucius says the stock robbery lost all of Wayne's money. Bruce is broken. Now it's time to sell out to Miranda Tate. Lucius and Bruce take Miranda Tate underground to show her this big fusion clean energy generator, which Bruce had shut down because Dr. Pavel figured out how to weaponize the same exact technology. Then he convinces her to buy Wayne Enterprises to keep the device out of the wrong hands. I'm sure that'll last. Remember that scene where the Joker did something? That was a fun movie. Oh no, wait, time for a board meeting so Miranda Tate can take over. And Daggett gets Bruce kicked out. This is just so cool. What happens next? And now his car is getting towed, but Blake gives him a ride. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So Daggett gets all pissed now and confronts Bane. Dun dun dun.
What the hell is going on?
Nothing, that's what. The next thing that happens is also nothing. Daggett says Bane has construction crews working all over the city. He says that it's not interesting, and like most of the Nolan versus Batman dialogue, it serves to tell important plot points instead of making those things part of the plot. Bane kills Daggett, okay, whatever. And Bruce tells Blake all about basically this conversation from Batman Begins. And then Selina's packing her bags when Bruce shows up, and he's like, I know Batman, and Batman wants to meet Bane, and he thinks you can help, so let's do that.
Oh, I'm totally friends with the superhero, but I'm not that superhero, but I need the information that superhero needs.
Blake shows up at Gordon's hospital room and tells him about his sewer investigation, so Gordon makes him a detective. Yay! Okay, they're gonna do this now. Yeah, Bruce and Miranda go to his mansion in the oh-so-romantic rain, and then make with the hanky-panky. It's so cool. It's like the Batman movie we've all been waiting for. They talk. She used to be poor. He used to be Batman. These movies used to be interesting. Then he meets up with Catwoman. They go to Bane's lair, but then she tricks him into getting trapped by Bane. Dun dun dun. And then Bane outs him as Bruce Wayne.
Mr. Wayne.
Gasp, what?
Nobody ever accused me of being dumb.
You're dumb.
Okay, so finally Batman and Bane fight it out on the catwalk in this big underground lair, and it's so colorful and goofy. Wait, no, wrong one. Yeah, they fight on this catwalk, and Bane reveals he's got access to all the Wayne Tech stuff Lucius was hiding. And then, comic book reference, he breaks Batman's spine.
Oh, the story's really gonna pick up from here.
Detective Blake goes looking for Bruce, no good, so he follows Selina Kyle to an airport, and she's useless, so he arrests her. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Bruce is dragged into a dungeon and wakes up to Bane's purty face. Dun dun dun. And this scene is just all about what a badass actor Tom Hardy is. This guy fails at nothing, and even when he's doing this ridiculous muffled accent and has nothing to act with but his eyes and head movement, he manages to sell whatever the hell is happening here. I don't know what the hell is happening here, but Tom Hardy is selling that shit. He tells Bruce about this big hole he's in now and how seeing the sun gives prisoners false hope, which makes it all that much worse, and he's gonna do the same thing to Gotham and make Bruce watch it on the TV till he dies to death.
Wow, false hopes and watching something you love be slowly destroyed. I know how you feel, Bruce.
Next up, Selina goes to jail, men's jail, because she's too dangerous for girl jail. Really? The proof being that she immediately cartwheels a guy's wrists to break. I don't know how else to put that. It's the most awkward Catwoman move since Yeah. Then Bane crashes another board meeting. Well, the board meeting. Oh my god, the board meeting. So then Bane, dun dun dun, takes Miranda, Fox, and the board members hostage. Foley tells Gordon about it, and he says, get literally every cop in the sewers. Literally every cop. We're halfway there, folks. Here's a clip of Batman saving a cat to hold you over. Back in the hole, this dude dies trying to climb out. Another guy tells Bruce the only person who ever did get out was a child who was born there. Must have been Bane. Dun dun dun. Back in Gotham, Dr. Pavel turns the fusion device into a big ol' bomb, and Blake finds some bad guys. They fight. He's surprised that guns kill people, and he realizes they've been rigging the city with explosive cement for months. But too late, Bane blows up, well, more than the Joker ever did. Bridges, roads, football stadium for some reason. Blake gets Gordon, and Bane shows off his big bomb, and then he kills Dr. Pavel because he's the only one who can disarm the... Why is there no Batman in this movie? Anyway, Bane says the bomb is armed, and who the trigger man is a mystery.
It's a mystery.
A mystery sounds fun. And this is somehow a liberation for God. Man, I don't get it. The army's there now. Gordon and Blake hide out. Bane goes to a prison and sets all the prisoners free and tells everyone what Harvey Dent did. Blake's disappointed in Gordon. Yeah, that's a good word.
Your hands look plenty filthy to me, Commissioner.
Well, screw you. For anyone keeping score, they were totally right at the end of The Dark Knight. And Blake's attitude problem does not change that. Bane thinks this big bomb and the prisoners being freed and blowing up the city is going to convince the people of Gotham that they have hope. I can't even wrap my head around why he's sweet-talking them while openly destroying the place. That is not how lying works. This old dude tells Bruce about Bane's gross face and some mercenary who got an important lady pregnant, and that lady got in trouble and a baby got into prison. Again, I guess that's Bane. Dun dun dun. They're not saying yet. Then the old dude punches Bruce's protruding spine to jumpstart the healing process. Then Bruce either hallucinates or talks to Ra's al Ghul's ghost and has a flashback at the same time. Wow. Plots. Stuff. Bruce gets better and fails to escape. Gotham's getting worse. Bruce fails another escape, but then he does it without a safety rope and succeeds. Yay! Then Scarecrow is running some wacky goofball court, just a ruined, I mean useless character now. From obsessed scientist to a drug dealer to a fake judge. Really cool.
For years has been living off the blood and sweat of people less powerful than him.
Ooh, topical. Awesome. He sentences Stryver to walk on the ice till he falls in. Gordon and the leftover cops form some kind of rebel cause, hoping to track down the trucks that are moving the fusion bomb around. He tries to convince Foley to help because he's remotely interesting and helpful in any way, so Miranda offers to help Gordon. Then Bruce just shows up in Gotham, gives Selina the clean slate, and asks for her help. She's been nothing but mopey and awful, but she was also awful and mopey, so yeah, trust her some more. Meanwhile, the rebel types are out trying to find the bomb when uh-oh, Bane's guys arrest Gordon. Another goofy court scene, but for Gordon this time. Okay. Then Catwoman is randomly like this trusted authority who commands Bane's men. What? Then back to the old Bat Eye store with Lucius, and Bruce gets geared up. Take a look at the Batwing. Yeah, I said Batwing, damn it. And the autopilot's still broken. Okie dokie. Gordon is forced to walk on some thin ice while Blake gets caught up with some goons while trying to free the cops from the sewers wild. Finally, Batman shows up just in time to save Gordon and announces his return with a giant flaming bat signal. Batman asks Gordon where Miranda Tate is, and Gordon has the answers, even though Bruce saw her after Gordon was arrested. What? Bane is literally talking to no one in this shot. What? This goon falls over for no reason. What? Batman saves Blake and tells him to wear a mask when he's crime fighting, even though he's a cop. They free the police from the sewers. Then he gives Catwoman his bat pod. She continues to be really charming and super helpful. Shut up! Then the cops start a street fight with Bane's men. Ooh, lots of people at once. Epic. Selina blows up some blockade. Anyway, where's Batman? He's always fighting alongside the cops. So much for being the night shift. Blake is attempting to get people across the bridge. Gordon's looking for the bomb. And then Batman does his best to find the bomb all on his own. Too hard to find things on my own. Me punch bad guy. Me good fighter. Okay, so then it turns out that Miranda is actually Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter. And Bane was her bodyguard, and this whole thing was about vengeance for Liam Neeson's death. So we just spent the entire movie not knowing who the villain was or what their motivations are. So sacrifice substance and story just to shove a pointless twist ending in there. Okie dokie. Yeah, and Talia stabs Batman. She has a trigger for the bomb, which Gordon finds, and then she leaves Bane to die, and Foley gets killed wearing his gloves. And I care about this as much as Talia here does. Selina Cat shows up and kills Bane with big guns, saving Batman just in time. There's this whole dramatic thing with Blake trying to get the kids across the bridge, but the military won't let him because it's a proper hostage situation, you see. And Batman chases down Talia, who's driving the bomb truck now. Explosions, flying, missiles, countdown, more explosions, and crash. Gordon hops out, Selina drives, Batman lands in the Batwing, and let's just put the bomb's clock up on the screen while they listen to Talia's villain monologue about plot points that really, really matter. Very much so matter. Keep on ticking. Everybody's going to die. Then Selina kisses Batman, still counting down. This really is not the time. Oh, but also take a break to tell Gordon your true identity in as poetic a way as you can.
The world.
What? Boy, oh boy, does anyone not know Batman's secret identity? He told Gordon all of Bane's men saw him unmasked. Bane told Selina. Blake figured it out. Bane always knew. Talia always knew. Reese made an informed conclusion. He outright told Rachel. Ra's al Ghul couldn't not know. I don't know when Lucius figured it out. That's about it, but let's keep going. Alfred's niece figured it out because Alfred was sloppy. Riddler made it pretty apparent to everyone in this room, including Harvey Dent, this chick, Chase Meridian, and Drew Barrymore. The Riddler told Two-Face. The Riddler found out because Bruce willingly stepped into a mind-reading machine, and Dick Grayson broke into the Batcave again because Alfred was sloppy. Batman openly admitted it to Max Schreck in a last-ditch effort to save Selina Kyle. Selina and Bruce realized who they were at the same time because they'd grown too close as Batman and Catwoman. Batman also told Joker right before he revenge murdered him. And even though Bruce couldn't bring himself to tell Vicky Vale, she found out because Alfred took her into the Batcave, which is increasingly sloppy. And back in '66,
if Robin and I were to remove our masks, the secret of our true identities would be revealed.
Completely destroying their value as ex-crime fighters.
Thank you. Well, hey, Batman's got a comically giant round bomb that's about to go off, and you know what they say about bombs.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
So he flies the bomb to the harbor, and it explodes, atom-splitting style. Killing him instantly, I guess. And everyone who hasn't heard of nuclear fallout starts to cheer.
It's all right, Robin.
Blake tosses his badge upon seeing this, and there's a modest funeral for Bruce right out in front of Wayne Manor. Gordon tries to keep Blake from quitting the force, but Blake is just super pissed that nobody knows that Bruce Wayne was Batman because he didn't watch my montage that I just did. And they unveil a big bat statue, a Bat-Chew. And there's this little meeting where Bruce's last will states his house will be turned into an orphanage, and everything else goes to pay off his debts, and Alfred gets the rest of his crap, except for this duffel bag, which he bequeathed to Blake. And then Lucius finds out that the autopilot in the Batwing... Oh, wait. I forgot. Blake's full name is Robin John Blake. That's like a detail that's supposed to matter. It really says a lot about him. So, Lucius finds out that the autopilot was actually working because Bruce fixed it, and the last line in the movie is something about Bruce's mom's pearl necklace is missing. Blake gets these GPS coordinates and some spelunking stuff out of the duffel bag. Alfred gets a drink in Europe. Gordon gets a new bat signal. Blake finds the Batcave. Alfred gets his wish when he sees Bruce is alive and married to a terrible, just awful person. The end! Well, Nolan tried to go out big with epic cop battles and lots of punching, and while this movie was a culmination of the first and second plot-wise, it was still completely bastardized from the other two films. It did this in a few ways, which I talked about earlier, but most egregiously was that the entire series felt like it was building to Batman finally establishing himself. The elements of Batman were developed perfectly, but they never came together. There was no payoff. As soon as he started, he quit. Now, sadly, admittedly, it is about Batman establishing himself. He's a penniless former cop named Robin Blake who lives underneath an orphanage. You know, Batman! And he fights, I don't know, common street thugs because there's no costume freaks here. And he has to be Batman because of Gordon's new bat signal. And he can't be Robin because that's his real name. What? Why build a world like this with 3 films just to have this random dude take over? Bruce just tapped out after 1 year. Is Batman the real him? Apparently not. And after a super brief comeback, he faked his death, which makes this even more senseless. He's famous enough to make the paparazzi lose their minds with flashbulbing, and even Ra's al Ghul pointed out years ago that Bruce Wayne is,
The world is too small for someone like Bruce Wayne to disappear.
And he barely deserves a break. He did essentially less than cops do, but with more gear. And you know what? He did kill Harvey Dent right after stealing the guy's girlfriend, and he saved the Joker, and he made Alfred cry. Yeah, screw this dude. I don't want to think about this anymore. I'm gonna go watch a cartoon or something. Batman with feelings and thoughts, and not just some grumbling idiot going,